Okay, thank you so much and welcome. This is MKU TV, and tonight we'll be having trust dealer.
You have started saying that my friend Brian from government.
You're also my friend Dylan from the opposition.
The confused opposition is known for being paid.
Yes, I'm among the opposition, and today we are here in MKU TV discussing that this useless government, they are doing nothing, and that is what I can introduce for now.
Okay, thank you so much.
MKU TV, it's good to be here. Thank you for tuning in. I am Brian, but a student at MKU University campus. I'm also a young politician and pro-government. So today we're going to break down, we're actually going to discuss facts and the tangible things that we have seen from the government, opposed to the hot air that the opposition is driving around. So, having a good debate. Thank you. I'm Pastor for watching.
Thank you so much. I'm your host Raphael, and let's carry on with the debate. Okay, I'll be having the first questions. It will come to both of you, so you can just opinions. Okay, Brian, what do you?
There are a number of achievements we've seen since Ruto assumed office in 2022, and I think the first one I'll speak about is how we now have, compared to the previous government led by Uhuru, where we saw a lot of money being stolen. In fact, former President Uhuru mentioned himself, I don't remember where exactly, but there is a time he mentioned that over 2 billion is actually stolen from that's the taxpayers' money, and that spoke a lot about him as a leader, because as the head of state, you're the commander-in-chief, you're actually coming to tell us that a certain amount of money is stolen every day, and yet you are the one with you have more than anyone in the country. You are the one who can actually act upon it. So he actually mentioned it and did nothing about it, and that's where Kenya's economy was really messed up big time. And he actually expected that when Ruto assumed office, he would not last a year. Maybe actually people decided to revolt because of the bad economy. These are words that were actually said by people who were in opposition then, who were close to Uhuru. But here we are. We have a stable economy. We are no longer complaining about high cost of flour, high cost of sugar, high cost of food. And I know maybe the people from the opposition will say that Ruto has gone ahead to still borrow more money. But the difference from what Ruto is borrowing compared to what the previous President Uhuru was borrowing is that whatever Ruto is borrowing right now is actually going into the development of the country. And we have seen many projects that are ongoing, some are complete. We've seen stadiums of the country, we've seen construction of roads, we've seen the shift from NHIF to SHA. It is actually working. Where I come from, my constituency, Belgood constituency in Victor County, my MP, Nelson Pride, is actually now beginning to use the CDF money. He has started an initiative where he looks for the very vulnerable in society, the people who can't make a living, and CDF actually pays some amount to to make sure that they get a SHA coverage. So these are some of the projects that we've not seen in the previous government before, and there are a lot of things. So that's just mentioning a few, maybe about the economy, and there are more things I can talk about. So since that's what you asked, that's the first thing I would say.
Okay, Brian, kwa hivyo you believe that stable?
Yeah, we have a stable economy, and even though we have countries outside, but it was actually, it went into people's accounts and people's pockets in the name of companies that were registered under different names. For example, we all know that it's now common knowledge that the standard gauge, no, not the standard gauge railway, I will come to that later, the expressway, Nairobi Expressway, the beneficiaries are actually the Kenyatas, the Kenyatta family. They used, it was just a proxy, they registered a company under a name of China, what on that, and it is actually owned by them, and they are benefiting from the expressway for many years to come, because for you to use the expressway you have to pay. So the money that is paid every day goes to the accounts. So those are some of the few things. Maybe you can also, why are people, the opposition, not talking about the Galana Gulalu project? Because it is now working in an arid area where it was very hard to grow crops. But now how many tons of maize have been produced from there, courtesy of President Ruto, focusing on irrigating Galana Gulalu and making sure that Kenya has more food security by producing more food within the country, and actually that we are no longer exporting more food compared to previous times where we, at some point, we even imported what we can have, what we can plant, for example, in the country. So there are a lot of things that President Ruto has done. I can mention a lot of them. Maybe I don't know if maybe my friend wants to ask them.
We are talking about what is the biggest achievement of the current government, because despite having some challenges, they also have their achievements.
For me, I think that the government is doing nothing, because currently, compared to the past government of Uhuru, my friend have said that the last government of Uhuru Kenyatta, compared to the current, is that Ruto is doing good. No, I don't believe that, because if the government is doing nothing compared to the Uhuru government, because when you see that borrowing of money from the last government, Uhuru was borrowing because they have not introduced more tax to the country. Now this current government is doing something which is not even making sense. How can you borrow money from other organizations, and yet you are still taxing people? And that cannot. Where are those tax going? And next thing is that even this government, I don't know when Uhuru have never introduced any disease to the country, but this government has enabled Ebola. I don't know why.
How many cases of Ebola have been reported in the country? Give us facts. How many cases of Ebola have been reported in the country?
How risk is the country? How risk is the country that introduced Ebola to the country? And yet Uhuru was chasing away Corona. He tried more best. Even he closed schools. He introduced everything. He used to introduce medicine. But now, if you see even Kenyatta National Hospital, it's the best hospital we have in Kenya. But it have a challenge of shortage of money and shortage of medicine. I don't know how this government is working, because it's not majorly, this government is not majorly focusing on people health. No, just focusing maybe personal gain. If you see that,
so you believe that the government has done nothing?
No, the government is doing. This government, the president himself and the public personnel were gaining for themselves. They are looting the government's money and funds for themselves. What you see from SHA, from NHF to SHA, where are those money, where people are putting with NHF went? We don't know even now. And SHA is not. If you go, okay. I have even evidence. If you go to some. Just follow you. If you follow social media,
you cannot prove anything that you say.
I myself, I went to the hospital. I took an uncle there, and SHA does not.
You personally, are you registered under SHA?
Yes, I have registered.
And how many times have you gone to the hospital?
I've used my money, my friend. So you can tell me SHA is working
and unless you prove it, how come personally is working? For example, I use medical glasses, medical spectacles. So initially, before when we were using NHIF, you would go to the hospital, maybe you need, for example, a pair of glasses. It took actually maybe up to a month or even more than a month for you to get the glasses. For NHIF to approve that amount for you to get. But actually now you can just go to the hospital and get it right away. And how much does it cost? 13,000, for example. So, and you compare. I want you to compare the people who have people who benefited from NHIF and people who are benefiting from SHA. Actually, SHA is paying more money, more amount of money compared to what NHIF was paying. And why is President Ruto getting a lot of backlash from introducing SHA and getting rid of NHIF? It's because many people who ran hospitals and were benefiting from maybe faking people's illnesses and documents to show that we treated someone. Actually, a number of hospitals were getting money for no services offered. So when Ruto realized that and changed it, that's why a lot of people are complaining, because they are no longer eating from where they used to get free money.
What I'm realizing you is that you are just saying maybe one day you went to hospital and you just use your money. You are just here to say just someone when you kweli and you experience. You see, many Kenyans, if you go to the ground, many Kenyans are experiencing challenges.
Me to who represent Robert from somewhere in Ukambani and Didi Nyoro, where they were lying to Kenyans in parliament debating, stating that the new finance bill is actually going to tax the mitumba clothes, which is which a lot of people are depending on, and they will bill show us where is it in the bill, and they will prove it. No, that's exactly what you are doing. You are trying to manipulate the listeners and lie to them.
True. Not here about the parliament. You are here talking about the government have been done.
Okay, let's buy it. Recently in the news, maybe 2 days ago, 1 day ago, some section, I think it's called in Lamu, where for the first time since Kenya gained independence, they have the government has actually constructed a tarmac road for them. It was actually 30 something kilometers, more than 30 kilometers, tarmac where a tarmac has never been before. So you are here trying to say how President Uhuru was so good, how he did the country so good. You're being a hypocrite. Another thing,
introduce a tarmac road to that place. Do you know how many projects did Uhuru introduce to that?
Show us. Give us the facts.
My friend, you said that the current government, it has no any achievement.
Is that no any achievement, by the way? How does the government boast about a tarmac road? A tarmac road, why does the government...
Okay, one thing, let me ask you. You come from Narok. If the government was not really working, why has it handed over the Masai Mara? Actually, Narok County is now getting money from Masai Mara directly, compared to before where it used to go to the government.
No, no.
Another one in Kajiado. I'm forgetting the name of this reserve, where the county government is actually compared to before. If Ruto was a greedy person like the previous president, why wouldn't he would be benefiting from the money directly?
No,
why is it that the county government, and actually Narok County is one of the richest counties in the country right now because of that?
No, let me tell you, according to where I come from, Narok County, from Narok town to Masai Mara, Uhuru built a very nice highway.
Across his land?
No, yes.
Even there's goes through his land.
No,
there's Uhuru built a
highway
his land.
From Narok to
From Suswa, his land.
No, and that you are telling me that Ruto gave us Masai Mara was just a reserve. We are even more than.
But more people are benefiting from the reserve more than the people within Narok.
This Amboseli we were just to repeal It was just a matter of time to get that.
Let's even talk about something else. You've said that the government is doing nothing. For those people applying for visa, if you can ask a number of them, those who maybe have gone abroad recently, visa application is now easier. It takes a maximum of 72 hours compared to before, I used to take a couple and two goes abroad, talks to the governments there, and asks if they can employ maybe a number of Kenyans. And so he made sure that it is easier for Kenyans to go abroad and work. It benefits them, and they also get to pay tax to the country. Another thing we can talk about is teacher recruitment. The recruitment that has been done between 2022 to 2026 currently is one of the largest in Kenya's history compared to the previous government, where more people who had the credentials, they were qualified to become teachers and teach in schools, or many of them were unemployed. But courtesy of Ruto government, a number of them, though we have not reached the target actually, because the target that Ruto said is to get at least to get 100,000 teachers employed in a period of 3 years. Within a period of 3 years from, I believe that was in 24 or 25 last year. But now we are talking about 76,000, which is not so far from it. Not yet there, but he's doing a good job. Let's talk about the police and the security officers having salary increment, because we have known for a long time that the police officers in Kenya are paid little money compared to the work that they are doing. Ruto has actually increased their salaries, and they have been given decent housing compared to what you report tumezoea na watu, where they say, even get memes of people attacking the police, telling them unaniambia nini kwa kikombe, because they didn't have decent livelihoods where they used to live. They are now prioritized in the affordable projects. And talking about the affordable projects, affordable housing, that is all over the country, not in one part of the country. It is not yet complete because it is a huge project, but we have seen so far it has helped a lot of people. Many engineers, many architects have gotten a lot of money from it. Many masons, many electricians, many plumbers. How many people have been employed through affordable housing alone? And you're busy trying to tell us who was better than Ruto. How? That's
Okay,
hypocrisy.
you see you're stable, everything is good. Now, why are we experiencing this protest? People are against your government. Why?
I think a certain there are a number of politicians who, because they don't agree with the person of Ruto, not the president himself, but maybe maybe they don't agree on maybe personal things with Ruto. That's why they want to incite people, because it is not a lie that there are still people in the country who can just be told what to do by a number of politicians, regardless of whether they are paid small money, whether they are not paid, but they just follow some people blindly. So these people actually take advantage of having that following to actually manipulate the people and lie to them about what the government is doing wrong or what the government is not doing. And when they are asked to prove it, they cannot prove it. And I've used a very good example. A very good example is we've seen the recent debate in the National Assembly, where the Member of Parliament Mbui lied to the Kenyans on live television in Parliament, saying that in the finance bill, claiming that he had read it, saying that the government is planning to tax Tumba, which was a lie. And the majority leader, Kimani Ichung'wah, actually asked him, prove it to us because you have the document. He had the document actually. And he asked him, just prove to us, show us the page where it is, where what you're claiming, what you're saying is. And he said, because of time, this is a huge document, I cannot read it, so I withdraw. He actually withdrew the statement, which clearly shows that they believe that there are certain followers who follow them are kind of stupid in a way, sorry to say, but it's true. where they follow blindly what they say. The same Didinyoro tried to do the same thing. Actually, it was yesterday when I saw it. And again, Kimani Ichung'wah asked him, prove it to us. And he actually started stuttering words. He can't defend himself. So these are some of the things that we are saying. You should not lie to the people. This is what we have seen the confused opposition doing. The likes of Gachagua, the likes of Matiang'i, people who have no political future in the country because they have no track record. They cannot prove that they did this development that helped people. Those are just selfish people, and we know they are funded by Uhuru. And Uhuru is not happy with President Ruto being the president. We all know that. So he's trying to fight President Ruto using those people. And they actually have nothing to offer. It's true. Unless you have, you know, when you're arguing, trying to convince a number of Kenyans that this is why we are good, this is why we are a better option compared to Ruto who is in government, you should be able to provide an agenda, a solid agenda that counters what Ruto is doing, that we can actually see and realize, this could be better than that. But offer. What you do is talk against government. You have nothing to offer. You have nothing solid. Yeah, give us facts. I want. We are dealing with facts.
You say that FISA is now giving Kenyan a very maybe affordable to.
It is easier. It's shorter time.
When you see that the last government, our recent government, the government of Uhuru Kenyatta, was not introducing tax to the people who are going out of the country. And how can you introduce maybe you introduce more tax to them, then you tell them that I can now ease to you.
Kenyans have always been taxed since independence. No, Kenyans have always been taxed. People who are abroad, the money that you send into the country, the money that you transact, a number of it is taxed.
Now Ruto is taxing. That's why we call him Sakayo, because he taxes more than the other government.
Since the last time you protested, has he increased the tax another time?
Has he increased tax? You know how much?
And again, that was a necessary move. Increasing the tax. Kenya was at a very bad position. If you don't know that, you should ask the experts. Kenya, if Kenya would have defaulted.
Why does the country just explain or bring Kenya to a very good position? And say that Kenya is a very bad.
Learn to listen. I'm trying to pump knowledge.
Ruto,
okay? If Kenya would have, that's the problem with the opposition. You are noisemakers. You have nothing to say. You have nothing solid to say. I'm trying to talk to the Kenyans who are watching. I'm trying to tell them, to explain to them why it was necessary. Increase taxes at the time.
Why are you saying that when you are knowledgeable and Kenya is still suffering? Kenya will be Singapore the way you are saying. And you are saying you are knowledgeable. Kenya is still suffering. We have many slums. Kenya are suffering. We have no.
It's good that you are bringing up the point of slums. It's very good.
You believe that Kenyans are still suffering?
About the issue of slums. Look at Mukwanjenga, look at Kibra, where shanties and slums were the largest slum in Africa, or the second after Soweto. And he's actually trying to get rid of slums to give Kenyans decent housing.
He's trying.
Listen to me. Compared to maybe let's say an acre where you get construct high-rise buildings, where it actually has the capacity to host more people. It is actually saving land, saving space, and the government can get to maybe do even more projects, more housing projects there, until it will host more people compared to the people that were living in slums. One of the things that you should know about affordable housing, it has a piped gas. Where else do you get piped gas in the country? Very rare. That's unique to affordable housing.
That is economy. How does that increase our
that
economy?
Is giving people decent living.
What can increase our economy? No. You know, you are focusing on affordable housing.
Those are the very basic things. What are the basic things of a human being? Food, shelter, and what? Education is now one of why is actually why are we mentioning Singapore? Compare, I think you should do more research and Singapore developed to where it is. Sorry, but failed to pay the loans that they borrowed from outside. For example, China, the one that we know. That's how Kenya would have been blacklisted, and would have actually, that paints a bad picture about a country, because the people who can actually loan you or fund you, like the World Bank and all that, will lose faith in you because they know you can't pay loan. So the moment you are blacklisted and you, after defaulting, no one is willing to give you more loans. If you need development, you will not get it. So that's why it's necessary to pay, to tax Kenyans more, which the funny thing is actually you don't realize that out of I think let's use out of 10 shillings that maybe from the taxes that were collected from Kenyans, 7 shillings went to paying debt. You have to know that housing was in trouble. And 7 shillings was used to repay debt, and the 3 shillings that remained was used. You have to pay civil servants. You have to do construction projects. So what did you expect? Where did you expect Ruto to get money from? And where did you expect him to get money from?
Do you know, Kenya is now even borrowing money than the other government. And
borrowing, now, and borrowing is good because of what? You have to borrow. This is a country that is developing.
How do the government
listen, Dapash. This is a country that is developing. You are not a first world country compared to the other countries that can actually fund activities in other countries.
How does it develop and you told us you are in Singapore?
We are not already there. That's the dream. We are headed there. So I'm actually saying that Kenya is not a first world country. We have a long way to go. That's why Ruto is trying to solve the basic problems of housing and all that. The moment every Kenyan is able to get decent housing, it will channel more energy and resources to other things. So, since Kenya is not a first world country, we are relying more on maybe loans and funds from other countries. So, you don't expect Kenya to do without loans. But the difference I'm telling you is, compared to Uhuru government borrowing, where a lot of money disappeared. Look at even when COVID was ravaged the country, where there were COVID millionaires, Kina Murage, was it Murade or Murage, whoever, and those who were close associates, members of Jubilee, close associates of Uhuru government. You're even stealing from the people at the time that they need the money most. They are suffering. But compared to what the loans that Ruto is borrowing is getting from other countries is doing now, we are seeing a lot of development projects in the country. And you can't argue against that because you don't have facts to... You look at the stadiums. How many stadiums are constructed? Recently, the holiday that was done in Wajir County. Look at the stadium that for the first time...
How many stadiums were there before?
The highway to...
How many stadiums were there
before
came? How many stadiums?
Should he not build more stadiums?
No.
Don't Kenyans need more stadiums? More decent stadiums.
How comes you build a stadium and therefore there is no maybe good roads or even water in that area?
No good roads where yet he is doing development projects across the country. Wakati alikuwa anaongelea Modogashe and it's another lie. Now the project is complete. The people from Mount Kenya are happy. From Northeastern.
Let us talk about how we can improve the cost of living, unemployment to young people. How can you get more employment spaces, and how can you improve the cost of living to the people? Because you have seen that people are evolving about high cost of living and bad economy. How can you give the solutions?
So that's actually what we are witnessing now, and there are more projects that are affordable housing has offered a lot of jobs to many Kenyans. It is a project that is actually done day and night, 24/7.
Okay, I've seen
so
that.
There are people who work in the night, there are people who work in the day. One thing that you should know, that's why Uhuru and the Mount Kenya people are very unhappy. And we have actually seen, there's a guy called Makarina who is actually a person who was elected to, I think, to represent the disabled in Kenya. He's called something Makarina from Meru. He actually said it, if you follow Mount Kenya politics, where he's exposed, and a number of other Mount Kenya, people from Mount Kenya, random people on TikTok, where you see them speak about the same things that I am about to say here.
Answer the question.
Listen, that's what I'm heading. I'm just trying to tell you should do more research. So don't base everything on what I say. You should prove it from other people. That's where the listeners who are sharp are actually learning. So the Uhuru Kenyatta family, their businesses, and their associates in Kenya. This is on the record. That's why I'm telling you, go do more research. Their companies, they were actually exempted from paying taxes for the longest time. Since Kenya gained independence, Kenyatta became president all along the way. Many of them running without them paying taxes to the Kenyan economy. And that's why, since Ruto realized that there was a problem there, and he actually mentioned it before he got into office in 2022, where he said, I'll make sure that every Kenyan pays taxes. That's why, because the Mount Kenya people are in business. They are the biggest business people in the country, together with the Somalis and the Indians. So, since now they are paying a lot of money because their businesses make a lot of money, that's why they are bitter. And why is Ruto making sure that they pay taxes? Because it is actually the taxes that will get the country will get more revenue, and it will be able to do more development projects. Because when a country is surviving, when there is little revenue, the most it can do is what? Pay its civil servants, and maybe run maybe few things in government. Remember that there are a lot of we have the judiciary and all that, the three arms of government where they need funding separately. There's the judiciary, there's the executive itself, there's the legislature, where that alone consumes a lot of money from the Kenyan revenue. About getting actually a country to a better place economically, those are the very first steps of doing it. But more, what Ruto is actually looking forward to is actually industrializing the country. That's why he's all over the country, all over the world. That's why he was invited in the G7 summit. He's been invited in Europe, America, because of what? He's trying to convince investors in those countries that come to invest. He's telling them, come invest in Kenya. We have opportunity for investment. You can come build industries. And that way, when more investors come into the country, there are more industries, more people are employed. There's a lot of tax that will get into the country. So that's why Kenya is currently at the top when you talk about Africa worldwide. Why was he the only African president invited in the G7 summit? You should ask yourself that. It is because they've seen something that Ruto is a very visionary person. It is actually someone who can reason on the same level with those people. So that's why they see a lot of opportunity in Kenya. Even look at Dangote, the richest black man, billionaire from Nigeria. Where Ruto and Museveni met with him, and they were actually discussing having him construct an oil refinery in East Africa. They initially agreed that the refinery would be built for East Africa. Ruto is also not a selfish man. They said it would be constructed in, is it Tanga, in Tanzania? But recently we've seen where Ruto went to Tanzania and went to their parliament there, where Suluhu actually was asking him, why is it that I don't know about this plan that you have? So Dangote saw something. What did he finally decide? He decided he would build the refinery in Kenya. And he already had the refinery but was not doing well in the country. So if he can actually come improve on it and build another refinery, how much money will Kenya be making, having an oil refinery alone? That's what Ruto is looking at. It will reach a point where Kenya will no longer need to borrow money. It will no longer need to borrow funds from other countries. It will be able to run its own economy. So those are some of the things. That's what Ruto is doing.
Okay, thank you so much, Brad. We'll hear
is the Songo home. That's the only is doing nothing. And you know, the time when money was lost, he can announce. And now Ruto, we don't know what's going that behind the scenes. Now, what we can do is by chasing Kasongo home by 2027, and the economy will
How sure?
I actually people
everything to that's the only way.
people who believe in what who follow you.
I think I pity.
What has for the last 5 years?
Nothing to do with the arrogance in the Senate.
You
He actually done his work.
you are the most useless opposition since Kenyan history.
And the government
Since Kenya gained independence, the most useless opposition.
and even
You have nothing good
you are
to
also
offer.
most useless in the government.
Thank you so much. For now, we'll be heading to a short break. Thank you so much for tuning in with us. Continue tuning in with us. We'll be back with more details. Continue tuning in.
One time.